So when we think about what our web strategies are, what it all comes down to is it's about activity. How active am I? Because the more active I am, the higher I go up on pages and everything else. And so what I need is for other people, whether they're collaborators or my uh, customers, to link to me. You can pay for it. You can use bloggers and viral content. Why? Because when everybody goes viral, each one of those people are mentioning you, and that affects your position. Some of the things you can run into is you can have block code, which can stop you from going there. Language could be different. For example, in England, they call the trunk the boot. So if you type in boot and you're doing trunk parts or something like that, you can run into trouble. Forms, they can't. Forms have a ton of information, but they can't read it. Um, your landing page. Your landing page is essentially the point where um, customers get on with your product and your site. It's where they onboard. And what it comes down to is you want your content to be shareable. You want, again, activity. And activity is about engagement. So you want them to share for it. And what it is that your entire website should be a journey that you're going to want to steer people in certain directions for things. For an example, here's Target. When you go to Target's landing page, what is it? It's very clean. It's very bright. By the same token, you go to Walmart's, it's all cluttered. But it kind of mirrors a store. uh, so in terms of good design, I won't go through it. This is pretty much self-explanatory. But essentially, these are all the things that you need to do to have good indexable content for your website. And in terms of usability, uh, the experience your customer has. Can I navigate it easily? Is everything self-explanatory? Um, am I genuine? Is my content believable and sincere? And so there are a number of tools out there that will measure these things. For example, how often are you linked to? Are you viewed as spam? Are you still vital? And there are actually sites and services that you can go to and look these things up. In terms of metric, here are some of the metrics that impact your website and what they are. You can look at how your keywords are doing, how often you get indexed. In terms of subject areas that you're interested in are things like your analytics, your optimization, and basically Google and Yahoo uh, have tools that can help you with that. The thing about if you're a business, you think about things like visits and what your Google rank is. But the key thing is to find the right metrics that correspond to your business. And that's that some of the metrics you look at is like how many visitors do you get? These are the basics. How much time do they spend on your page? What's my bounce rate? And what bounce rate is, I show up at the site and then I suddenly leave. I don't look at anything. And what that tells me is that my tag words and all my linking and everything is bad. It's bad because they're coming to my site and they don't want to come to my site. So I'm doing something wrong in terms of how I'm connecting. Here are some of the issues related to conversion rates and engagement. These are the web metrics that people look at. You're trying to, and what it all sums up to is this, that you try to drive traffic, whether it's search engines or referrals or whatever. And once they can get to my site, then I need to engage them. And so engagement is how do they interact with me and my website. So all of a sudden, my page speed becomes important. That when people bring things up, if they have to wait, they're gone. What's the bandwidth? How many people can I take on my site, and so on and so forth. And then when they leave, why are they leaving? Did they buy anything? Are they going to refer me to someone else? Here are some statistics from a website. The thing is, the average conversion on a website is about 2 to 3%. But on the other hand, are these kind of statistics good for somebody like Amazon? For a cell phone cover, if I'm doing a cell phone cover, guess what? I have a very specific product. So I should be doing better than Amazon, who has a generalized product. And so in terms of improving on this is the conversion rate for a bunch of different retailers. Notice that Pro Flowers is at the top. Well, let's face it, how often do you go to a flower website? Yeah, not very often. And guess what? If I'm there, I have, just by showing up, I have shown my intent. And so that's why they can do so well versus somebody like Amazon. So the things to think about is, who's coming to your site and why. And that's basically going to tell you what kind of journey you want to take them in. The thing about your data is just don't look at it as one big mass segment. Figure out the different sections that are relevant. But what it comes down to is, at the end of the day, you still have to make money. So you're looking at the financial metrics, or things like the number of transactions you make and how much are they worth. In terms of your website and what functions you want to have, a lot depends on what is a website. There's a big difference between a business blog, lead generation, and an e-commerce site. And so these are some of the performance metrics, and that KPI means key performance indicators. Like, for example, if I have an e-commerce site, how many carts get abandoned? I mean, my point of my e-commerce site is, let's do commerce, let's sell stuff. Whereas lead generation, I'm more interested in how many leads am I getting every day. Blogs are extremely powerful because they have a tendency to connect to other people. And so what it comes down to is I can drive traffic that way. The thing about blogs, though, is a lot of them can be alike. I mean, I've done searches on information and found out the same article is on like 15 different sites. The advantage of something like Twitter is I can get viral effects and things can happen quickly. If I have that level of product, then it's a good channel for me. Videos. I wonder someday if we're going to have words anymore. We live in the age of video. The question is video supplanted pictures? What supplanted words? So the question becomes, that's the funny thing, in the early days of the internet, there really weren't that many pictures because pictures take up a lot of bandwidth, a lot of bits. Words don't take up a lot. I mean, they're kilobits versus megabits. The thing is, you can use these digital sources to see what your competition is doing. In terms of referrals and destinations, is it more about you or is it more about somebody else? But the thing is, you can run your own experiments. You can change keywords and see what the impact is. Look at your bounce rate and things like that. Historical data, is that any good? Well, a lot depends if it's stable, and a lot of that has to do with your business. There are a lot of tools out there, and this is an example of this is an example of a dashboard. Thank you. But anyway, the thing about a dashboard is that it's a nice pictorial that summarizes what's going on with your data, so you can scan it quickly and figure out what it is you need to do. We live in the age of content and influencer marketing. I keep talking about that. And so what content marketing is, it's so important for websites, is that, again, it's bait. You're throwing bait out there. You're giving stuff away. What do we do when we bait something? We're giving away food for these fish. But it helps you bring people in. In terms of influencer marketing, because of all these digital devices, the world is one huge network. And so how do I get activity with nodes in a network and segments? It's all about having those people who can catalyze and create that activity, which is influencers. And so one of the biggest drivers of this current digital age is the fact that cell phones have adopted to a level of 90%. Europe actually was ahead of the game with this. They actually hit 90% much sooner than we did. And I was in Paris in 2001, and nobody had a global cell phone. We're like running around for all these different pay booths to find something that works because nobody uses them anymore. But anyway, when you're talking about sales, it's about driving traffic. And so you have to understand the customer behavior because with digital, we know it's also about developing that market. Those analytical tools will help you relate those metrics into something that's actionable for you.